on the throne, Bija of the Brahminical culture, or the Brahman, Gavan of the cows, Paramishtyam, supreme, Jagapate, O master of the whole universe, Bhavaya, for improvement, Prayase, for ultimate happiness, Ujjaya, for increasing the opulence, Shemaya, for the maintenance and good fortune, Vijayaya, for the victory and increasing prestige, Cha, and translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O Lord Brahma, your position within this universe is certainly most auspicious for everyone, especially the cows and the Brahmins. Brahminical culture and the protection of cows can be increasingly glorified, and thus all kinds of material happiness, opulence, and good fortune will automatically increase. But unfortunately, if Hiranyakashipu occupies your seat, everything will be lost. Increase that volume just a little bit. Purport. In this verse, the words Vijagavan Paramishtyam indicate the most exalted position of the Brahmins, Brahminical culture, and the cows. In Vedic culture, the welfare of the cows and the welfare of the Brahmins are essential. Without a proper arrangement for developing Brahminical culture and protecting cows, all the affairs of administration will go to hell. Being afraid that Hiranyakashipu would occupy the post of Brahma, the demigods were extremely disturbed. Hiranyakashipu was a well-known demon, and the demigods knew that if the demons and Rakshasas were to occupy the supreme post, Brahminical culture and the protection of cows would come to an end. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, the original proprietor of everything is Lord Krishna. The Lord, therefore, knows particularly well how to develop the material condition of the living entities within this material world. Chakshurum militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Chaitanya Manobhishtam Savitam Yena Vishade Vayam Rupagada Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Vishade Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Swami Maharaj Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Sivasari Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare So Krishna is known as the protector of the cows and the Brahmins. Srila Prabhupada many times made the point that first it stated the cows, because the cows are so dear to Krishna. The Brahmins are also dear to Krishna. But in Goloka Vrindavan, cows have a much more prominent position than Brahmanas. You don't need Brahmanas in Goloka Vrindavan. They're simply ornamental. They just praise Krishna. they say Dujagavam? Because they're pious. They're pious. They're devotees. But they are Sakama devotees. Devotees who have material desires. And therefore we see it here. What are they concerned about? Bhavaya. Improvement. What kind of improvement? Not that they become pure devotees. Improving the material condition. Shreyase, for ultimate happiness. Anyone who is in the heavenly planets is because they want happiness. It's like when Srila Prabhupada's dear devotee Jayananda Prabhu left this world, Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter. And he said, most likely you will go back home, back to God. But if you have some material desire, you can go to the heavenly planets for some time and exhaust that desire, and then you go back home, back to God. So that's material happiness. That's why they're in the heavenly planets. And Buddhe, for increasing opulence, and Shemaya, for the maintenance and good fortune, and Vijaya, for the victory and increasing prestige. So we can see the difference, just like later on in this pastime, when Lord Nrsimhadev is fighting with Hiranyakashipu. At one point, he lets Hiranyakashipu loose, compared to like a cat playing with a mouse. Sometimes the cat, before they kills the mouse, he lets him loose and just to practice his hunting skills. And so, but when that happened, the demigods were very much in anxiety. They were thinking, what happened to what happened to Nrsimhadev? Is he losing his touch? Will the universe again be under the control of this big demon? They were afraid. Even when they began to glorify Lord Nrsimhadev after Hiranyakashipu was killed, and he was still very angry. When you analyze the prayers of all the demigods, except for Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, but all the other demigods, thank you for preserving this, thank you for helping with this, all a lot of mundane consideration. And then only Prasad Maharaj was able to offer prayers that satisfied Lord Nrsimhadev. Because the Lord is not so satisfied with prayers that have some material quality. Therefore he says, that however much transcendence there is in your prayer, I will give you that much spiritual potency. But it will also be mixed. To whatever degree you are requiring or desiring something material, I'll give you that. So, but Srila Prabhupada, he interjects in the purport that the real purpose of any type of endeavor or any type of sacrifice is to please the person who is supposed to be pleased by sacrifice, the supreme enjoyer. Everything should be dedicated to him. And why? Even if you require an external purpose, you require an external purpose, why you should offer everything to me? Because everything belongs to me. How can you offer to anyone else? It all belongs to me. So, and then, if you require further, to be further convinced why I should do this, why not offer it to my mother or someone else? Because because I am your best friend. I can take better care of you because it is only based on bhakti. He has understood perfectly the purpose of the Bhagavatam for Krishna bhakti. So he wasn't interested in a literal translation. He was interested in a realized translation. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, when he was getting ready to leave the planet, he said, they were asking him about who will do translation. And Prabhupada said, translation is not A, B, C, D. Not just some literal thing, mechanical thing. Oh, this word means this. No, you have to realize it, especially for the Bhagavatam. You're translating some poetry or some prose or something, some directions on how to do something, some certain way to chant mantras. That you can do literally. But when you're translating the Bhagavatam, or when you're translating some Bhakti Shastra, then it must contain this element. So the last line that I read, I stopped because of that last line. The Lord, therefore, knows particularly well how to develop the material condition of the living entities within this world. This is a very important phrase because it means that there's no fault on the part of the Lord, and this will be more apparent as the purport develops more. But so what does that mean? It's basically saying that one should never doubt the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows perfectly well how to develop the material condition. So Srila Prabhupada will elaborate on that. That has two aspects. One aspect is that materialistic people, according to their desire, or maintenance, good fortune, prestige, ultimate happiness, improvement of material conditions, well, they will get material opulence, but they will forget about Krishna. Demigods, sometimes they forget about Krishna's omnipotence, how powerful he is. They forget about that. Therefore, when Hiranyakashipu was released, they thought, what's happening? How can this be? And otherwise, they're basically saying, Lord Nrsimhadev, you should have killed him immediately. You should have done it our way. Just like they were ready to kill Prasad. They were so concerned that this demon will disturb our opulent condition and all of our great good fortune, that they wanted to immediately kill Prasad. He's a demon in the womb. They wanted to kill him. They would have even killed his mother. Because just like Indra, when he became angry, he was ready to kill the Brajvasi and the cow. This is how dangerous. Therefore, Krishna says, Mahapatma Mahashana. It is the all-devouring, this anger, this soul is devouring, and lust. They devour you. They turn you into a demon, these temporary demons. Even here, the devotee can temporarily manifest demoniac or materialistic qualities, especially if you want the last thing here, Vijayaya, if you want prestige, victory for prestige. We want victory for the pleasure of Krishna. And what kind of victory do we want? Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. That victory. That the holy name of the Lord will conquer the contaminated hearts of the living entities in Kali. So the Lord knows what to give to these people. Why doesn't he just give them everything they want? Because he wants to teach them something also. So the demigods are in anxiety, and they're saying to Brahma, you better do something quickly. They don't depend on Krishna. When the cowherd boys were in danger of the forest fire, they said, Krishna, Krishna. As Prabhupada said many times, they did not look for the fire brigade. They weren't looking for some material solution. every universe, there is one Brahma engaged on behalf of Lord Krishna, as confirmed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Tene Brahma vidhaya adi kavaye. So, the principal creator in each Brahmanda is Lord Brahma, who imparts Vedic knowledge to his disciples and sons. So here, Srila Prabhupada doesn't give the main purpose of Brahma to organize the material element. The main purpose, the most important aspect of Brahma, is to give transcendental knowledge to his sons and his disciples. So here you see how the pure devotee thinks. Anybody else would think, oh, he has to create. He's the creator. But, he has to create the source of all auspiciousness, which is parampara, without which the whole universe becomes useless. A universe without parampara is useless. So, on every planet, the king or supreme controller must be a representative of Brahma. Otherwise, Raja Rishi. He has to be Rishi. He has to have spiritual knowledge. And because the king, evam parampara, the king has to preserve the parampara. Just like we see now, our parampara is struggles because manda sumanda matayo, because people are spiritually deficient, and the leaders are even worse. They create policies against Dharma. Their whole approach is adharma. Here, we're a little better off. But still, politics is politics. As people would say about Gandhi, he is a saint among politicians and a politician among saints. So, can't get that politician part out. Which means that politician means I will do what is favorable for my position, not what's favorable for the benefit of everyone. If everyone can benefit from, as long as I can maintain my prestige and my position, then that's all right. But this is the most important. So it's very important. Therefore, if a Rakshasa or demon were situated in Brahma's post, then the entire arrangement of the universe, especially the protection of Brahminical culture and cows, would be ruined. All the demigods anticipated this danger, and therefore they went to request Lord Brahma to take immediate steps to thwart Hiranyakashipu's plan. Here, Srila Prabhupada takes it in a different direction. In the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma was attacked by two demons, Madhu and Kaitava. But Krishna saved him. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as Madhu Kaitava. Now again, Hiranyakashipu was trying to replace Brahma. In the material world is so situated that even the position of Lord Brahma, not to speak of ordinary living entities, is sometimes in danger. So, this is very important. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada here is saying, don't try to create a situation in this world which is favorable for sense gratification. Because even the position of Brahma can be taken away at any moment. That's how dangerous the material world is. Padam padam yati padam yati sham. Every step there's danger. We think that we have a relative conception of danger. The danger means, just like my sister used to, one time I told her I'm going to the Amazon. We had a farm there. And she said, oh, you shouldn't go, it's very dangerous. All kinds of wild animals. And I asked her, I said, how many people have been killed in the last month where you live? She lived in Washington, D.C. been there for 1 year and no one has been killed. Not even one person. So where is more dangerous? Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that the sannyasis should go to the forest where they face the danger of wild animals. And therefore they should go to the cities because the most dangerous animals are situated there. As Narottam Das Thakur said, a snake is the most envious animal, but by mantras and by some music you can control a snake, even a cobra, very dangerous. But you cannot control an envious person. No, they create so many problems, as we can see by the condition of the world today. Nonetheless, until the time of Hiranyakashipu, no one had tried to replace Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu, however, was such a great demon that he maintained this ambition. The word buddhe means for increasing opulence, and the word shreyase refers to ultimately returning home back to Godhead. So here, Srila Prabhupada gives the bhakti meaning. Because what is the opulence of a devotee? The opulence of a devotee is how well you can follow the Shikshastra. The more you can follow the Shikshastra, that is your opulence. Therefore, just like it's considered to be opulent if you have a garland, that means you're in a you're well respected, or you're very dear to others. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said that the best garland is Trinada Visaruchita. You should always wear this garland. So this is the opulence of a devotee. So supreme opulence, increasing opulence. Increasing opulence means you have more transcendental knowledge. You're chanting more. You're chanting more 16, then 25, then 32, then 64. Then this is what we should do. The only reason we don't do it, the only reason should be that we don't increase our chanting is because we have so much service. Srila Prabhupada gave that example. One time, Hari Shari Prabhu, he told me that Srila Prabhupada, they went to somewhere in South India, and Srila Prabhupada for 1 month practically he only chanted. There were so many problems and so much weight on his shoulders of trying to maintain the society that they just chanted. He didn't even give class. Many days he did not give class. He was just chanting. And but when he told me that, I understood Prabhupada was also giving an example that this should be, if we have any time other than studying Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or Shastra, if we have any time, we should chant more. Not that, I finished my round, therefore it's almost a sinful activity to chant more. I don't want to pick up my bead bag again, otherwise how will I engage in sense gratification? So, careful. Just like one devotee told me once, he was in anxiety. So I said, he was telling me all these problems. I said, why don't we just sit down and chant and hear the Bhagavatam? And he said, no, I want to speak about reality. I said, I thought the Bhagavatam was reality. Otherwise, reality, the relative reality of this world. In spiritual advancement, one's material position improves at the same time that the path of liberation becomes clear and one is freed from material bondage. If one is situated in an opulent position, opulence never decreases. Therefore, such a spiritual benediction is called bhukti or vibhuti. That sounds contrary to, how can that be? You see, Parikshit Maharaj, he was very opulent, and then everything was taken away. You see, so many devotees, they had some opulence, and it was taken away, except for Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he used opulence so that people, because he had some fear that because he was from a very great devotee family, he didn't consider himself to be a great devotee, even though he was King Vrishabhanu. But he didn't consider himself to be a very great devotee. But he was thinking, because I come from a family of great devotees, people may glorify me. Therefore, what did he do? He built a beautiful, luxurious palace made of coral. It says this coral and diamonds and jewels. The pillars were made of jeweled coral. Every sort of opulence. He had servants, and he wore the best clothing and the finest perfume and the most opulent oil. Why? Because he didn't want anyone to glorify him. Because some devotees had recognized his greatness and they were trying to glorify him. Or Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri, as soon as he received the kheer from the Brahmin, the Pujari Brahmin who had brought it from Gopinath, he immediately said, let me leave this place. If people hear about this, they will glorify me. Gopinath is here. He should only be glorified. But ignorant people will think that I'm advanced, and they will glorify me. And they'll lose the opportunity to glorify Gopinath. So he left. But when he arrived at Jagannath Puri, everyone was saying, no, Madhavendra Puri, the beloved of Kirchor Gopinath, that Gopinath loves him so much that he stole for him. So, a devotee cannot escape, but a devotee does not want this. Doesn't want to be glorified. So this is one type of opulence. But here Srila Prabhupada is even speaking about external opulence, because he says one's material position improves. So we may think, what happened to me? I'm trying to make spiritual advancement. So, one famous verse in the Bhagavatam, Yasyaham anugrinami harishetad janam shanai, that Tato dhanam chijat yasya swajana dukkha dukhitam, that when Krishna especially favors someone, he takes away everything. And when he takes away their wealth, swajana, tyajat yasya swajana, that his family members reject him. Just like the Avanti Brahmin. The Avanti Brahmin, he was a little greedy, and he treated his family members, he gave them just the bare minimum. Never gave them any opulence. So when he lost his opulence, he went to his family members and they said, get out. We don't want you anymore. You treated us very badly, so we will treat you very badly. This is typical material calculation. If a Vaishnava is treated badly, he thinks this is the opulence of the Lord. One verse, when I read this, I thought of this one verse. It's a beautiful verse. This is 10th Canto, 87th chapter, verse 40. But avaghami, when someone realizes the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, naveti bavad uta shubha shubhayor guna viguna, when one realizes the Lord, one doesn't care for auspicious or inauspicious, one doesn't care for guna or one accepts that whatever the Lord gives me, that is perfect. Not that, this happened to me, therefore I will take revenge. That devotee that offended me, I hope Krishna strikes him down with lightning. So a devotee doesn't think like that. A devotee thinks that, just like Vishnu did, when he said to the Pandavas, how could this happen to you? It is only inevitable time. He said in it, why didn't he say Krishna? He did say Krishna later, but he said inevitable time, because time is the factor. And he said that because actually the time for their opulence had come. And so first he said time, then he said, oh, no, Dharma Sutta, Dharma Sutto, that you are the son of opulence, and Gada Panir Vikodhara. Oh, and Bhima and Arjuna, he addressed him as Krishna. Krishna Patir, Gandiva Chapam. That you Krishna, that Arjuna, he was sometimes called Krishna because he was so dear to Krishna. And so you have been subjected to, it's not fair. He was saying it's not fair by material calculation. What has happened to you? You're the most pious people. It's not fair. But this is the desire of the Lord. And therefore, you must accept it. You should consider yourself very fortunate. And I think Srila Prabhupada explains it here. No, he doesn't explain it here, but in the verse that I quoted in the purport, it's 1088.8, that it says that a devotee, when something very difficult happens, or someone even criticizes him, he's very happy. He's very happy. Oh, Krishna is putting me in my place. Krishna is helping me realize that I am an insignificant and living entity. Thank you very much. And so, Srila Prabhupada said, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, commenting on that verse, he says, actually Krishna wants to give opulence to his devotees. Just like Srila Prabhupada. Krishna first put Prabhupada into great difficulty. So why does Krishna put the devotee into difficulty? Because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, just like a lamp looks very beautiful in darkness, but it doesn't look beautiful in the sunlight. Nothing to it, just an object. But in the darkness, it looks very beautiful. And so a devotee looks very beautiful when they are subjected to difficult situations, and they show how one simply maintains one's total dedication and faith in the Supreme Personality of God. A devotee looks very wonderful. And therefore, a devotee should be honored and glorified. Because Krishna wants his devotee to be glorified more and more. Sometimes he puts him into a difficult situation, and then he brings him opulence. Just like Srila Prabhupada. He first had so many struggles. Not only, but for 22 years. For 22 years, in 1944, when Srila Prabhupada actually began to preach, until 1966, when finally there was some devotees. He was put one difficulty after another to, try to get some movement, try to get the League of Devotees going. Nobody wanted, and he finally got it going. Then the owner of the house took the house back, and he was practically kicked out on the street. And then he finally struggled so much to get the books printed, and then he went to the West, and so he didn't even have a proper place to stay. And he simply chanted. sometimes someone has that opulence and it's never taken away. Some king like Ambarish, he was the emperor of the whole planet. But by his bhakti, by the intensity of his bhakti, although he had all opulence, he would not even engage people in yajna. He engaged his ministers in engaging people in yajna because he was so intensely serving the Lord and engaged in devotional service. He didn't want to be distracted even by pious, spiritual, kingly duties. He didn't want any kingly duties. He just wanted to please the Lord. So I'll just finish with this. Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita. Yad vibhuti matsatam sattvam mamate chomsha sambhavam. If a devotee advances in spiritual consciousness and thus becomes materially opulent also, his position is a special gift from the Lord. So here is the key. If a devotee advances in spiritual consciousness and becomes materially opulent also, not that if a devotee thinks that they're advancing and they become materially opulent, then it's just karma. It's just karma. And it just as it came, it will go away. But if one is actually spiritually advanced and one receives opulence, here Srila Prabhupada was speaking about himself. It's a special gift. What is the purpose of that gift? Such opulence is never to be considered material. What does that mean? That means you should never use opulence which is given to you in Krishna's service for anything material. That's what Srila Prabhupada is stating. At present, especially on this planet Earth, the influence of Lord Brahma has decreased considerably, and the representatives of Hiranyakashipu, the Rakshasas and demons, have taken charge. So, this is a very powerful statement. Therefore, there is no protection of Brahminical culture in cows, which are the basic prerequisites for all kinds of good fortune. This age is very dangerous because society is being managed by demons and Rakshasas. So what does that mean? It means that the opulence, or the so-called opulence of the present age, is poison. It's poison. It's not real opulence because the cows and the Brahmins are not being protected. Therefore, whatever so-called opulence is like the opulence of Hiranyakashipu, the opulence of Ravana. They had great opulence. But what was the purpose? Sense gratification. So devotees have to be very careful not to engage in sense gratification because it will simply destroy the fiber of our spiritual life. Very dangerous. It is the creation, this desire for opulence. Sometimes I see devotees, especially in the West, but also in India. They're thinking, this opulence, Krishna has given it to me. No, your karma has given it to you. If you're very spiritually advanced and you have opulence, then yes, Krishna is giving it to you. But if you're not so spiritually advanced and you're getting opulence, you can understand this is coming from Rakshasas and demons. They have created this opulence. And if you're pursuing it, now a devotee may have some opulence. No, that's natural, especially if grihastas, they have adhikar, they have some right to have a little. But Prabhupada said very little license. That this adhikar means small license. Not that I will just, now the next 25 years, and usually it turns out to be 30, 35, maybe 40, that I will, while one is engaged in married life, 25 years you don't see that so often unless the wife leaves him or something. Otherwise, it gets extended. But there's no problem if you extend it for service. Just like Advaitacharya, he never took sannyas. Shiva Thakur, he never took sannyas. There's no problem to extend it if both persons are engaged, fully engaged in devotional service. Then there's no need. But if one is engaging in opulence, meaning there's some opulence is required. Even Srila Prabhupada was given certain opulences, and it was very useful for his translation. Just like when he was in London. London's a very cold place. And Prabhupada didn't like the cold. And so they gave him a heater. So that heater was, even though it's a certain type of opulence, it was not for sense gratification. It was serving Krishna better. So some facility is all right. Or if it increases or gives you more ability to serve better or to serve for more time or to have more quality in your service, then that opulence is good. It's a special gift from the Lord, as Srila Prabhupada says here, to engage in devotion. So there are many, this is a very purport full of different important points. So I just touched on some of them, and but now our time is up. So I'll stop here. If there's any comments or questions? Okay. Keep it deeper.
Thank you for a wonderful class, Maharaj. The question I have is somewhat related to your remark about Krishna, not the cowherd boys calling for Krishna, not for the fire brigade. In this regard, it's just mentioned there that the demigods were praying that the demons not become, that Hiranyakashipu not occupy the post of Brahma, because then that will kill the Minical culture. So on the one hand, that seems like a altruistic prayer, that please come and set these things right. And at the same time, you had mentioned that they're also praying for the Lord to set things right for their own material benefit. So how do we understand the difference, when there's an actually truly altruistic desire for the Lord as compared with a mixed desire for, it's like, I'd like to see you, but I'd also like, it's like, is it the same thing as like see the rotten and sell bananas, kind of thing. So what's going on here with with such altruistic prayers?
Well, Krishna is setting everything right by the Sankirtan movement. But sometimes we think setting things right means from a political point of view. Otherwise, what is being propaganded in society as good life, a good life. For a devotee, a good life means kirtaniya sada hari. That's a good life. When you're fully engaged in devotional service. So why does Krishna Prabhupada said it is not society. He said that society, civilization means protection of the cows, promotion of Brahminical culture, and pursuance of love of God. This is real culture. If these three things are not there, then it's not culture. It's not civilization. It's anti-civilization. So we're surrounded by a world of anti-civilization. And even here in India, people are being encouraged to embrace. Now there is a movement. There is a movement to embrace Dharma. But even what is the conception of Dharma? Mayavad philosophy. This is Dharma, or just worship the demigods. So even the Dharma, of course, that Dharma is much better than the Adharma, which is so predominant in the West, and even becoming more predominant in India. It's like you go to any street corner and just see who's begging at going car to car, begging for some alms. It shows the unfortunate situation of Kali Yuga. These principles are being promoted. So anyway, the only thing I see is Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is our hope. This is our only hope. And the more we can do that, it's like Srila Prabhupada in 1975. He said that there was no war because there was a big problem in 74 between India and Pakistan. Prabhupada said there would be a war. But then when the next year came, devotees said, Prabhupada, what happened to the war? And he said, Krishna changed his mind. Why? Because you were distributing my books because of the Sankirtan movement. So if we want to stop war, and we want to stop this unfortunate condition, and we can see that. Just look how prominent ISKCON has become in India nowadays. When we first came, or I first came, nobody knew ISKCON. As Prabhupada, everybody, most people thought that even our movement, they thought it was an extension of the CIA. They thought that. They actually thought that, they sent agents to just come and see, try to figure out. It's very difficult. Nobody knew that. Now, anywhere I go, everywhere I go in India, ISKCON. Oh, you must be with ISKCON. Everyone knows sign. Every city, there's a sign, ISKCON temple. They don't have, they have a few other temples, like old famous temples, but they don't, they may say, the Akshardham or something, but you see ISKCON signs everywhere. You may see the Akshardham one place, or Mahavir Mandir one place, or but you see ISKCON everywhere. ISKCON temple, even like 3 or 4 signs, and put there by the government to tell you exactly how to get there. So this shows the power of the Sankirtan movement. But we have to be very careful to preserve it like that, and don't allow prestige and material ambition to creep in and destroy what Srila Prabhupada began and what the devotees, especially devotees like Gopal Krishna Maharaj and so many other wonderful disciples of Srila Prabhupada that are pushing this Sankirtan movement and have pushed the Sankirtan movement. And we have to be careful to have that same move of no material ambition, no personal agenda. I don't want any personal benefit. I only want to see that Srila Prabhupada's legacy continues and grows more and more. Because Prabhupada, he said he wanted to see everyone to become Krishna conscious. And how will that happen? One can think, well, he didn't do it. He didn't do it because Krishna called him back. Actually, Prabhupada said, just a few months after the movement started, and Prabhupada was giving Sanskrit classes in New York, and he said, so one day they read about the that the Kurukshetra war went on for 18 days, and Prabhupada said, actually, I can conquer this world in 18 days, but you are not ready. So he was revealing that he put the seed of this movement, and he's just like Lord Chaitanya liberated the universe, but he is allowing us to do that, to be the instruments of that happening. And Srila Prabhupada, Krishna called him back so that we